want to do everything to ensure he clinches. But let me tell you, we don't need such desperate people to be our leaders in this nation now. We need people who articulate. We need people who are sound mentally and physically. We need people who understand the problems of this nation and how to provide solutions. It's not people that will be governing by prosy.
But he said when he came back from his trip and all that, he told Nigerians he's alive. And when he was asked, what should Nigerians expect from you? He said they should expect intelligent statements and restructuring. And you've also seen most of his campaign stocks, which will really go into in subsequent time during this program. So, would you think that that's coherent? That's a speech that Nigerians should expect?
Who has engaged in so far? Who is he speaking to? Has he even allowed the journalists to engage him? Even the recent event in Abuja that Atiku, P2B, all that organized by one woman, VOW. Tinubu was represented by his deputy. He was not there physically. So what candidate that should be speaking to the people, people should be hearing them. It's not reading speeches that are written for them. No. If you say you're intelligent, be ready to be interrogated. And let us see what is coming out of you. It's not to come and read prepared scripts. Tomorrow, you will deny it. That's exactly what we had in this administration. Towards 2015 election, a lot of things were said, which Buhari denied. That he was not the one who said it. He said, that's why we should not depend on what the spokespersons are saying. Let us hear the candidates. And this is era of technology where you can record. So that tomorrow, somebody is denying, you can flash it. That this is what he said with your mouth. Not what a spokesperson, not what was said by prosy.
Right, if you just joined us, this is Open Conversation, and I've been speaking with Dr. Obidimma JP, is an international affairs analyst and also a journalist, one who's really followed some political proceedings for quite a long time, right? So what do you think, or what are we expecting from the meeting today of Ilana Omo Odua today?
There's nothing good one is expecting because it is already discredited. The leader of the group has issued a disclaimer that he is not with those people that have been hired to do that. In fact, he said that they are politicians within the self-determination group. So he has called the Yorubas worldwide that he was not the one who endorsed it. He's not aware of it. He's not part of it. So in other words, before that meeting, it has already been discredited.
But looking at Festus Keyamo statement, he said that he's not aware that his principal, which is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will be there. That the appointment Bola Ahmed Tinubu has is for the Chamber of Commerce. So how do you see that as
whether it's there or not, people who don't have that kind of conviction are gathering. It's a gathering of street urchins. So I will even disassociate myself. When the person will know, as the arrowhead of that group, who has garnered international respect and acclamation, is saying, look, this is done. In other words, it's also exposing the tactics of Bola Tinubu in this divide and rule.
All right, so do you think this issue is being raised in the affair and the pseudo group in which some people have tagged it, alleged pseudo group, will actually further divide the Yoruba race, to vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Yeah, definitely. That's what is manifesting. That's what is showing. In other words, in fact, even Bola Tinubu's desperation shows that it's also not accepted generally in Southwest. in his aspiration. So he's been this way, he's doing everything he can to ensure that he gets a chunk of those who are malleable, that can agree with him and follow him, put them out of the listing. But then, I would say that those who are even rooting for Tinubu, the Yorubas, I'm not an Igbo person, I'm not from Southeast, but the Yorubas should not create a future problem for the next generation between the Yorubas and the Igbos. Because you don't know tomorrow, a Yoruba man will be contesting this. This is what they did to us. And that is what Afenfe is trying to avoid. But those who lack understanding may not understand this thing. We need that kind of unity. We need that kind of cohesion in the South to ensure that the Southerners are united, in what they not do when it comes to national politics.
All right. For the join us, this is still open conversation. I've been speaking with Dr. Obidimma. And we will join, we will really give you, keep you up to speed with the issues and the outcome of the meeting of Ilano Omo Odua today that is going to go on in Ibadan as time goes on, right? We're moving over now to the next issue on ground, which is has to do with the PDP. Now, the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, has taken a swipe at the former Minister of Transport, Dr. Abiy Sekibo, saying he does not feel such a leadership position to speak on behalf of the state. Dr. Sekibo is the Director General of the People's Democratic Party Presidential Campaign Council in Rivers State. Now, in one of the national dailies, reported that the Sekibo, former governor of the state, now de-recognized, in quote, now, Sir Celestine Omeha, former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Austin Opara, and the former senator who represented the Rivers Southeast District, Senator Lee Meba, had fallen out with Wike after they pitched their tent with the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar for the 2023 polls. Now, Wike spoke during the inauguration of 319 ward and 32 constituency liaison officers in Government House, Port Harcourt. On Monday, he said, "I have no problem with that, but he cannot speak on behalf of Rivers State." In that video, he said that Rivers State has been having a close relationship with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and that Rivers State has always benefited from Atiku Abubakar. I want to correct one impression. Dr. Abiy Sekibo has a personal relationship with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, not Rivers State. Dr. Abiy Sekibo was Minister of Transport when Alhaji Atiku Abubakar was the Vice President of Nigeria. Can you people mention one project in Okrika? I don't even want to talk about Rivers State. In Ogbolo, one project that he brought down to Rivers State. Is there any? That's the question Governor Wike was asking. It says the governor disclosed that the 2.1 billion Okrika sand filling project and the 2 billion Okochiri internal road, for which the sums of 1.3 billion naira and 1.6 billion naira have been paid respectively, were awarded to Dr. Abiy Sekibo, including the 1.4 billion naira contract for the Okujagu Street. Now, Danjuma Drive in Transamadi, Port Harcourt. We'll hold it there. Now, well, let's see now the response of Dr. Abiy Sekibo. He says, when contacted, Dr. Sekibo announced his call at the first dial, but by one of our correspondents, but declined to speak on allegations. These are matters. He declined to speak on allegations, and he says he has no comment on that. Dr. Bidima, how do you really see the infighting is still on, right? And it seems like anyone who has aligned himself with Atiku Abubakar is really an enemy now to Governor Nyesom Wike. These statements made by Dr. Sekibo early enough, which Governor Wike has responded to. What's your take on it?
Our governor in fighting this cause of regional equity. It's like it's now going too personal. It's personalizing it. And they may be losing the respect, maybe some followers of his as for him. Stick to what you are fighting and allow people to have their personal, express their personal interests. Nobody is your slave. If Abia Sekebo is speaking that is going to deliver rivers to Atiku, you are the governor. Am I not also in a party and telling people that I will deliver my word to my own party? The point there is that, is it the governor that has that prerogative to say, look, I'm speaking on behalf of Rivers people, or whatever I say, I'm saying it for Rivers people? No, you're not saying for me. There are things you say, you're not saying for me. But there are things you say, we see it as saying it in the context of representing the state. The interest of the, what is that you are pursuing? Are you pursuing? When you talk of regional, and to which zone in the south? Because you went into the race. What justifies you going into the race? If you are really fighting for justice and equity, why is it that within the PDP, when all of you were in PDP, both P2B, it did not support a Southeast person? Now that it has happened like this, you turn to say, okay, I should go away. And you are the one who also brought IU. If IU made a statement which what I actually don't like, that top positions in the party should go to a section of the country. You know, when you talk of our diversity, there should be equitable distribution of positions, resources, you know, so that there will be that kind of inclusiveness, there will be that kind of sense of belonging by members of the society or the group. Now, if to the extent you have fought and you are still on it, why must you believe that all people in Rivers State, because you are the governor, should follow you? It does not happen that way. Even Jesus Christ, the one God, who is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, who can do and undo, and is not forcing anybody, is not killing anybody for not following him immediately.
But for Governor Wike, he is the governor of the state.
Yes.
Yes. Doesn't he have a right to say that Abia Sekebo does not speak on behalf of the state?
What
represent the state?
No. What is representing the state? Is he representing Rivers State government? Is he representing Rivers State Executive Council? There are people who believe no.
The number one.
There are people who believe. There are people who
Doesn't
believe.
He have a right to say that Abia Sekebo cannot speak for the state.
Well, I have not even heard the statement Abia made that he is speaking on behalf of the state. Am I with Abia? Am I not from Rivers? And so many people are there with Abia. But there are some people who are with Abia. And he's the director of the presidential campaign of their party in the state.
In Rivers State.
So he's speaking on behalf of those Rivers people with him.
But Governor Wike has a grounds with that, and he has brought out some.
No, it doesn't have to have. You see, that is where I disagree totally with him. What kind of grass will you have? And will everybody follow him, Governor Wike, to vote who, even the person he brought as a candidate? Is everybody following, even within the PDP? He asked himself the question, am I going to be God that day that will be everywhere and force everybody to vote my candidate? He will only be in a booth. this is the mentality of our leaders that is so primitive and medieval. Their disposition cause a lot of issues for concern. A governor in a state in US trying to see that maybe he's the colonial master of that state, and everybody is subject to his whims and caprices.
All right. So, what do you make of his statement? Also, the person of Governor Yosowike, who says that Atiku's victory is uncertain in Rivers State, and that yet is yet to be decided upon.
Yeah, whether his victory is uncertain or not, that is their cup of tea, which I know too well that yes, if Yosowike is not supporting him, he only has a fraction of PDP supporters. And there are also large chunk of people who are also moved to support P2B.
Are you saying that he called the crowd that gathers each time he makes, each time they have those inaugurations and they had the opening of the campaign office, a fraction?
Yeah, it's a fraction. You see, the political dynamics of the states has changed in the last few months. You know, that what you may call a traditional state for this party is no more. Things have changed. You know, so the point I'm making is that there are a lot of people who were in PDP before, who also got disappointment the way things have been handled in the state and the nation, and seeing now the emergence of P2B as changing the narrative. What they are doing is that they appear to be light here. You know, let us see how we can re-engineer this society, this state. And there are a lot of people who also are discontented the way the governorship candidate in PDP emerged. And they have their followers, even at the grassroots. So PDP, remember, in last election, 2019, go to the records. PDP had, in the presidential election, I think 400,000 votes. So that is quite instructive that especially now we are going to this well-structured electoral system anchored on the 2022 electoral law, where the structure will make it very difficult for you to reach. It will be difficult for them that are shouting that we are going to deliver, we are not going to deliver. Because people are going, a lot of people who were not voting before are coming now to vote. And these new voters, new entrance into the voting space has interest in one candidate, and that is P2B.
Well, it's still contestable. It's people will be arguing about it because you've just mentioned it. So let's move on now. Still in the same vein, the Labour Party now has an issue also which they really posed and they've come to deny. Now, the Labour Party LP presidential candidate P2B has denied releasing his manifesto. Obi urged the general public to disregard the manifesto circulating online, stressing that it was a drafted copy under review. In a tweet, the Labour Party presidential candidate said he would personally release his manifesto. He wrote, "I have not formally released my manifesto. I will do so personally. It seems an earlier draft copy on the review has made its way to the public space." Let's hold it there before I go into some other things. Doesn't it show some lack of security and negligence when your manifesto has actually, the drafted copy has been spread and you are now coming to say that you've not really released your manifesto? That was just a drafted copy. What do you make of it? Does it make of someone who wants to really claims the ticket of the of winning the election in 2023 very serious? Because some of his counterparts have actually taken him on this, which we're going to really come out to really see as the long run. So they feel that this also is a deficit when it comes to
it's
preparation
not.
towards
It's
the
a,
elections.
no, it's not a deficit. It's a people don't know how. Sometimes they, even secret documents, classified documents, even US leak. Even in Nigeria, president he leak. Even draft budget leak. So the thing is that when it happens, you begin to investigate the source of that leakage. So it does not a document like this. Nothing can also shroud it that it can also not leak. That if it leaked, and the person who is the one that is seen through that document say no, I've not released it. I don't see anything that's wrong. So we should wait, because recently, the last time I heard about this manifesto, this thing, even when it appeared to have also leaked the first time, he said no, the manifesto is about 95% ready. The time I had it last, it's about 95% ready. They're very sure to be complete. And when it is completed, that they will make it public. And my position that time is that PWB may be coming with the finest manifesto we have ever seen in this country of recent. They just started the campaign. I also heard him on Arise Television when they asked him of manifesto. He said, look, my manifesto, people will see my manifesto, but beyond manifesto, that what he's saying is smart, matters a lot. That this is an era that anybody can tape you. So that tomorrow, when you are not doing that, which you say you will do, they will play it. You will not deny. He will not say that is what is in the document. People should be saying it also with their mouth. That day I know the statement. Let me quote. He said, Ruben, let me tell you, yeah, as important as manifesto is, I release my manifesto. But what is important is for you people to engage or to speak to the people what we will do with our mouth, and let us be recorded. So I am also eagerly waiting for that manifesto to go through it, and it will be my delight if it has that kind of, there's a huge difference between it and the ones that Atiku and Tinubu have released so far. So that I think they are coming with a document that if it comes into public scrutiny, at least it will get a pass mark.
So what are you going to really expect? Because let me take you on this one now. It says, meanwhile, Obi's counterpart from the APC, Bola Tinubu, has released his manifesto. He tagged it Renewed Hope 2023, Action Plan for a Better Nigeria. In the manifesto launched at the presidential villa, Tinubu vowed to tackle insecurity by establishing a highly trained and disciplined anti-terrorist battalions. We'll hold it there right now. This is Tinubu's own, and Atiku's own has long really been there. So what do you think is the delay of Peter B's manifesto from coming out? And what are you going to really expect from that manifesto?
Okay, and you consider when Peter B emerged as presidential candidate, when he left PDP and joined Labour Party, and two, also consider that he went to a party that is already owned by the Labour, NLC and TUC. There are different groups that also joined. Peter Obi will not come and force his idea. One, Labour, NLC, we have regularly, consistently heard them of what they have for this nation. And you see, these things will be properly distilled. Both the one Peter B is coming with, what they are coming with, what others are coming with, aggregate them, and come out with a fine document. So Peter B's case is different from the rest. It's like a movement. It's like a candidate that does not own himself, that is owned by people. And they must listen to the different tendencies, different philosophies, different ideologies, and maybe for a way forward for this nation. And when they are going to doing a document, it's a document. Also see his running mate. His running mate may also make him push because he also have a strength of character. That is somebody who has consistently fought against corruption when he was in National Assembly.
Also, some said that if you knew that you were going to be running for presidency in Labour Party, why didn't you have all these at the back of your mind as a foresight?
Why
prepare before?
Why not listen to me? He may have done that, but Labour also have their own manifesto. Party Tommy group also have their manifesto. So it cannot. It's not what you are not in a party that have been there and never do things rightly. It's just like one man when somebody because of money bag, the cash the person has, he controls the party.
But Labour has been going out for campaigns. Like the last campaign they had was in Nasarawa.
Yes, now.
So what have they been telling the people?
They only mention the 7-point agenda. The agenda, 7 points of agenda of P2B is different from the manifesto. The manifesto is the policy document. Must give you detailed analysis of your program and how to go about and what are the deliverables, the achievables in such a document. You know, so that is why I say P2B's matter or case is different from the rest. It's different from the rest.
All right, we'll see how that will go. We'll go over now to Ebonyi State ahead of the 2023 general elections. Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi has planned all forms of political all forms of political rallies in all primary and secondary schools in the state from November 1st, which is today, 2022. Governor Umahi announced the ban at the state citizens' input for the 2023 budget estimate in Abakaliki on Monday. He said, and I quote, "The Attorney General will come up with executive order banning motorcycles in every part of the state from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. If you want to use it before 7 p.m. We have to do everything to secure your lives. When we take hard decisions, it is because we have to take it. The primary responsibility of government is to secure lives and property. So you must make sacrifices to do that." From November 1st, 2022, no rallies in schools, whether primary schools or secondary schools. If you must hold rallies there, you must apply to Commissioner for Education and he must give you permission, because when you do rallies in these places and mess it up with the feces and all that there, who will clean it up? That's the question he's asking. So if you apply, you must put down money for the cleaning after the rally, irrespective of the party. Well, he says again that the governor also lashed out at those calling for the disbandment of Ebubago, saying the outfit has come to stay. Before we go to Ebubago issues right now, what do you make of this, the ban of rallies in secondary and primary schools by the governor of Ebonyi State? But he has put a clause to it, and he says you must pay money, but the amount is not stated. But do you think this will restrict parties, or is a point at getting at the opposition to do what, not allow them to do what they are supposed to do, or a point of stifling some freedom of expression when it comes to campaigns in the state?
Nandi, these are uncanny proclivities emanating from our political leaders. It just, in a summary, is a recipe for anarchy, for crisis, going towards 2023 election. And this thing will be tamed, it will be nipped in the bud before it creates a huge conflagration. We have seen it in River State. It's now moving to other states. And this is totally against the grains of the Constitution and the Electoral Act. How many permissions did these people seek in 2015, in 2019, when they contested for governorship positions? How many times did Wike, Omahi, and the people who are also in this bandwagon of wickedness, of trying to truncate our democracy, how many times did they apply to Minister of Education, Commission of Education to use public schools for their campaigns in 2015 and 2019? And that time, the people will not also mess up that environment. So people wake up and feel as if because they have become governor, they are now wiser. They have wisdom more than the rest of the society. And if other parties begin to react and also carry counterpose oppressions, would there be peace? Would there be orderliness in that society, in that state? No. So everybody, Edmund Burke, an English philosopher, he said that evil thrive in the society when good men do nothing. People of goodwill should speak up against this trend we are seeing manifesting in our political system. The president of this country, who is the commander-in-chief, should give a direct instruction to the Inspector General of Police, to the army commanders, to ensure that these actions of these governors are not carried out.
But he's mentioned some key factors that's giving rise to this, which is had to do with messing up.
These are what I said it earlier. When in 2019, when he also went to the public this, did those places not were they not messed up? The issue is this: if somebody is going to use a public school, you don't need to seek permission from even the Commission of Education. Go to the principal of that school. Go to the headmaster of that school. And the principal of the headmaster of that school will agree with you. Okay, please, because of so thing, can you pay a token to us so that when you people go, we'll bring cleaners to get the place cleaned up. It's as simple as that. Why apply to Commission of Education?
Why shouldn't they apply to Commission of Education?
No, why? You see, all these things are those political shenanigans that have been thrown up to muzzle down their opponents. Because, that is it. There's nothing else. In 2015, I was in PDP. Yes, on weekend use Bishop Crada Memorial Secondary School, Rumobiakane, opposite share for his flag of campaign. Amechi was the governor that time. And I know I also joined in those campaigns in so many places. Primary school in Elele, the field was also used as a campaign ground. He used so many schools, and nobody said he should not use school. The governor then did not say he should not use school. You get the point? Even when they applied to use the, what they call it, Adoke Masmeka Stadium for a presidential campaign, Amechi tried to delete that. Yes, so we can bulldoze the place with bulldozers because Jonathan was the head of state that time, was the president of the country, he's the commander-in-chief. Amechi was helpless. So if he does it now, will Amechi not reiterate? He will reiterate. And they use the position they have at the national to bulldoze the place, and they do is this thing. He will not do it. But the point I'm saying is this: if they say you should not use public schools, what you are invariably saying, because you are government, when you include your party, we know that you are just merely telling that to market women.
But should public schools be used for political rallies? Is that what should be the order of the day, or is that seen as really a good standard for political parties?
Why not? Even in advanced countries, universities are even used. People go to campaign in the university.
I mean, primary and
Primary, yes, the field. You know, we are in a country that we don't have this public spaces for recreation and all those stuff. Even where you can ease yourself if you are inconvenienced along the distance, no provision for these utilities. These utilities are not provided for the people. So why would the people, maybe they may go to chiefs in the community to say, look, don't allow anybody to use their playground without any permission because of security crisis. Then where will people use? Where will people do their rally? And the only places that the electoral act,
the streets. Someone suggests
they will come up with traffic obstructions and all those things. So the only two places the electoral act excluded is the worship centers, churches and mosques. And the act went further to say that permission should be gotten from the police commissioner, not commissioner of education. Commissioner of education, governor of a state, is not within the electoral act. The law, if we're a nation of law that must follow the rule of law, all the executive orders they are issuing, it's not even law. Executive orders are not laws. And the governors are not in a position to make law. So those executive orders, to the best of my knowledge, they're useless. Because they are as best as a toilet tissue. So it cannot begin to arrogate to yourself the power that is conferred on the commissioner of police. And that is why the retreat that is going on in Owerri now, organized by the Inspector General of Police, where all the governors, the presidential candidates, the chairman of the parties, all of them, I think that it started yesterday, that issue should be addressed. In fact, the Inspector General of Police should make it clear to all the police commissioners not to carry those instructions out.
Okay, so what do you make of the issue about Ibubago and other political parties in Ebonyi State have really thrown allegations saying that the governor is using Ibubago against them?
I've heard the governorship candidate of one Professor something of Abga in Ebonyi. He has gone round to media houses of what the opposition is experiencing in Ebonyi State. Ibubago is not known to the law, to the constitution of this country. And I think the formation of the establishment is properly defined. It's within the Southeast, which I don't see that is still functional, because even the person who was appointed as a commander of that thing, one retired Major General Omahi, also resigned out of frustration. They are not functioning the way Amotoku is functioning. Amotoku is functioning like a civilized and with a target. Bubagu, I don't think it's not even in Abia. I don't hear about it in Anambra, even Imo State.
I think it's in Igbo because we've had some talks about that
okay.
also in
But
Imo State.
I don't even hear about it in Enugu, but it's like a domiciled in Ebonyi. And he's not using them against his political opponents. The point is this: if the political party begin to raise their own local militias, they know themselves, everybody from that state, violence begets violence. Now, if that happens, what will go to be the state of Ebonyi? There will be crisis. Will the government himself be very comfortable? You see, most of them are so desperate. Most of them are so worried that they may not get what they want. And the only way to target your opponents, to go against your opponents, is using this underhand tactics.
All right, we'll rest because of our time. We'll rest this matter of Ibabago right now. Maybe some other time we may take it up. Right, moving over now to the next issue on ground. Still an open conversation, and we have the vice presidential candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, Archbishop Isaac Idahosa, has dismissed the recent predictions by Fitch, a global rating company, that the presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressive Congress, Bola Tinubu, would win the 2023 presidential election. He described the Fitch report and the outcomes of other poll surveys ahead of the forthcoming elections as fake and paid for, in quote, saying his party will spring surprises nationwide, considering the political structures and alliances it was building across the country. Speaking, the NNPP vice presidential candidate said, "Forget about those polls and ratings. They are paid for. When the votes are cast, then all eyes will be clear. We are not here to debate about the polls. Anyone could have sat down wherever he is and conduct his polls. I could choose today to rise and conduct polls. Of course, you don't expect a teacher to fail himself, but the reality will show shortly. Nigerians should just await the surprises that are about to befall them or be foretold." It says, "We are in the 2023 presidential race to win it. We are the party to beat." Before we go to other quotes that he had, what do you make of this? Is that the first? We've had the Ologbondia of the PDP condemn the polls, right, conducted. We've had also the Labour Party man, also Arabambi, reject the polls that were made. And now we're having NNPP vice presidential candidates. Idahosa really condemn and also reject these polls. But taking it back in retrospect, we had the polls conducted by Tedo Peterside, and it wasn't also condemned widely like this. Well, what do you make of this condemnation right now of the NNPP vice presidential candidate about this polls? People say that because it doesn't really favor you, you go ahead to condemn the polls, right? So, what's your position concerning all the statement that the NNPP vice presidential candidate has made?
Actually, it's quite challenging for me to put this post in the form maybe others may see it in way of rejection and whatever. As a social scientist, I know that research is very important, and especially to get an outcome of an issue, you need to really go into the field and use all kind of scientific methods they can use to get a result, either by this random sampling and all those things. But that does not mean that what you get today may not alter or change tomorrow. It's not the cast in stone. At Edo Peter said, when he conducted it, he said, as at that month, I think that was month of September, that if election were conducted that month, that this is likely going to be outcome. And that's how poll goes. Towards the election, it will be changing in its dynamics.
But they're of different platforms, if you ask me.
Yeah. So it also, if you're a politician, one area that is lacking in our politics is this research directorate. In other words, you can discreetly move people to the field to a particular place that you feel that you are weak, to do a survey and know the outcome of that survey. If you're not favorable towards you, it should prop you up to work harder. I don't like people sitting down and rejecting and condemning survey results. No. Whether it is paid for or not, I love the attitude of P2B when that of Artedo came and the second one came. He said, look, my supporters, don't put your mind on poor results. And I love that. It's not just to make you to sit down and relax. Put your mind that, look, have a focus that I have not done enough. I want to do more. The person who is condemning is the running mate of Kwankwaso. If we job place everything, no poll so far has given his party even more than 3% of outcome. So it's not just making statement. It's also deploying your full soldiers to go and find the realities on ground and know where your strength lies and where your strength is weak, and see how you can deploy resources towards that place and get Fitch is a global Fitch can also come tomorrow, and what they had today, before December, they will come with a different result, a different outcome. So I read it. Yes, it's not in favor, but there is a caveat also Fitch put in that report. He said that a large number of voters are yet undecided. More than the people that are decided, that you have those who are not decided, there are more than those who are not supporting the different candidates. So, if by January, those people now begin to, after hearing the candidate, begin to make their preferences, the result will change.
So you feel that this wasn't really orchestrated by some political parties or the APC? Some have really pointed their fingers to us.
No. If each want to discredit and undermine their international reputation, it's left for them. I don't want to go into the issue of they bought them over and all those. I don't want to go into that. I want, because in that report, they actually also said something about P2B. They said something about P2B, the following about P2B. In other words, they see P2B as, in their own report, as the second person.
That's after Tinubu?
Tinubu.
Okay.
So, what he's saying that, that caveat they put there, that people who are yet not decided are huge. So let's see how it goes from now.
All right, we'll just take a break at this point in time. When we come back, we round off with the discussions so far. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
You human
on the point of order.
Honorable
On the point of order.
So no agreement with the EU, but
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today. Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
so no agreement with the EU, but
But I remain committed to the United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
My amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation.
For the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and
But I remain committed to the United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done.
Thank you for joining us back today for Open Conversation. I'm afraid time is fast spent, with just briefly. Dr. Bidema is still here with me. Major political parties in the country on Sunday expressed discontent over the idea of exempting the Federal Capital's territory from their schedule of campaigns and rallies. This actually was done in the faith of protecting people. Remember the issue of the scare and the terror, scare of the terror attack in Abuja. And now political parties are kicking against it. They said it should not be so, but it's done for their good. Would like you to give some light on this, then we'll round off the program today.
I don't know who is coming up with that directive that campaign should not hold the federal capital. It's not a good image They are even associating the earlier claim of this international community about likely terror attacks. In other words, they are telling the world that Abuja, our capital, is not safe. If people cannot hold normal political activities, so the place is not safe. And then what should be done? What should be done is that the government, the security agency should up their ante to ensure that the right things are done and the place is secured. Okay. So if somebody is going for political rally, what are the security agencies doing? It's not to provide security. That is their duty. How can you exclude Abuja, and which state is even secured in this nation? So, in other words, no campaign rally should be done. We should all stay in our houses, not canvassing for vote on the day of election. People, then the day of election, which booth is secured?
Okay.
You know, they should manage this very, very directive. They should manage it properly.
All right.
Well,
well,
they should manage it
much
properly.
to take today on Open Conversation and the facts about politics and unrestricted viewpoints here today on the show. I've been speaking with Dr. Obidima JP, international affairs analyst and journalist today. Thank you so much for being my guest today on Open Conversation.
No, thank you for having me.
All right. Okay, you out there, thank you so much for staying with us all through. But if you didn't miss any segments, you could join us on all our social media platforms. Twitter, Atlantic Television Network. On Facebook and YouTube, it's at Atlantic TV Network. Remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. God bless you. Same time tomorrow, I'll be with you, same station. God willing.
But I remain committed to the United Kingdom leaving.
Since I became Prime Minister, I've said we must get on and get Brexit done on October the 31st so that this country can move on.
Sir, my amendment is that Mr. President should be invited to come and explain the situation.
For the Nigerian government to stop killing its people and
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, social economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today.